Dr. Elena Rise witnesses a man walk through a solid wall during her morning commute, and she's the only one who notices. The businessman in the gray suit simply passes through brick, as if it were mist, briefcase swinging, while the crowd flows around him unperturbed. Elena stops cold, coffee splashing over her hand, but when she points and calls out, passers-by regard her with annoyance or confused pity. "Did you see that?" she demands of a young woman beside her. The woman's eyes slide past Elena, as if viewing something distant. See what, exactly? Within hours, Elena is whisked away to a subterranean facility 50 miles outside of DC, her phone confiscated, her questions unanswered. The military escort remains silent during the drive, their movements too precise, their posture unnaturally perfect. In a concrete room lined with monitors, General Harris awaits. His smile never reaches his vacant eyes. "Dr. Rice, your work on multidimensional breach theory has finally garnered the attention it deserves. How did you know I saw something this morning?" Elena asks. Harris ignores the question, activating the monitors with a gesture too fluid to be natural. "You're about to understand why your controversial paper was deleted from every database worldwide 3 weeks ago." The screens illuminate with disturbing footage. Rain falling upward in Mexico City, buildings in Shanghai rearranging themselves when no one is looking, people in London moving in perfect geometric patterns. Elena's hands tremble as mathematical impossibilities unfold before her eyes. Probability curves reshaping in real time, fundamental constants shifting. 3 weeks ago, our quantum telescope detected them, Harris explains, his voice clinical. Entities existing beyond conventional dimensions. We believe they've been studying us for centuries. But now they're implementing changes. Before Elena can process this, alarms blare throughout the facility. Scientists at workstations suddenly straighten as one, their expressions going blank. Elena watches in horror as their personalities visibly drain away, replaced by machine-like efficiency. Within seconds, they're working in perfect synchronization, fingers moving in identical patterns across keyboards. "What's happening to them?" she gasps. Harris's expression flickers. A momentary battle for control, before smoothing into artificial calm. "The process. Harmonization is necessary. You'll understand soon." He reaches for her, movements becoming geometrically precise. Elena backs away, knocking over a chair as terror rises in her throat. A security officer, his name reads Chen, suddenly tackles Harris to the ground. "Run," he shouts, his eyes clear and human. "They're changing everyone." Elena and Chen flee through maintenance tunnels as the facility lockdown initiates. Emergency lights cast red shadows as they hear methodical footsteps in pursuit, not running, but moving with perfect efficiency. They emerge in Washington, D.C., but not the city Elena knows. Everything is subtly wrong. Buildings too symmetrical, traffic moving in perfect intervals, crowds flowing in mathematical patterns. Giant crystalline structures phase in and out of visibility at major intersections, visible only from certain angles. "We need to warn people," Elena pants, approaching pedestrians. "Something's happening. Can you hear me?" Most walk past, as if she's invisible. Only a frightened-looking teenager acknowledges them. You can see it too. The wrong things. Chen, former special forces by his bearing, counts the responsive people on a crowded block. 1 in 23, he mutters. That's all that's left. As government vehicles approach with that same unnaturally precise movement, Elena makes a connection that chills her to the bone. Our minds, she whispers. Human cognitive dissonance. Our ability to hold contradictory thoughts. It's why we can still see reality as it was. Something I always thought was our greatest flaw is now our only hope. Chen finishes, pulling her into an alley as harmonized search teams deploy. Elena realizes the horrifying truth. Reality itself is being rewritten by entities she mentally dubs the ordinals, and humanity's greatest cognitive weakness might be the only thing saving them from immediate conquest. 3 days hiding in an abandoned subway tunnel teaches Elena 2 things. The harmonized don't like darkness, and Marcus Chen snores like a chainsaw. Their meager supplies, water bottles and protein bars from a convenience store whose clerk couldn't see them, won't last another day. "We need to move," Marcus whispers, extinguishing their candle as footsteps echo above. Perfectly timed, mathematically precise. A voice calls from the darkness. "If you're looking for the bathroom, you're about 50 yards off." They spin to find themselves surrounded by silhouettes, ragged figures materializing from hidden alcoves, makeshift weapons raised. "Stand down," orders a woman's voice with a Caribbean lilt. They're awake, not harmonized. The leader steps forward, tall, black, with silver locks and eyes that miss nothing. Isabel Wu, formerly NASA's top mathematician, currently the subway system's most wanted fugitive. She studies Elena. "You're the physicist who published that crazy paper about dimensional bleeding. Read it before they erased it. Brilliant stuff." Elena's shoulders sag with relief. "You saw it too. The changes. Honey, we've been tracking anomalies for months. The first signs weren't even visual, statistical improbabilities, people making identical choices across population samples." Isabel signals her group. "Welcome to the tangent, those who exist in the spaces between their perfect geometries." They follow through maintenance corridors that shouldn't exist on any transit map, emerging into an abandoned station transformed into a settlement. String lights illuminate a community of perhaps 60 people, scientists, artists, and seemingly random individuals. "How are you all still? You?" Marcus asks. The teenage boy laughs. "We're the weird ones. I have synesthesia. See sounds as colors. Gramps there has Alzheimer's. They tried to harmonize him 3 times, but he keeps forgetting to stay harmonized." Isabel leads them to a makeshift lab constructed from salvaged equipment. "Our best guess. Creative minds, neurodivergent thinking, and those with fluid perception resist harmonization. We're the round pegs they can't force into their square reality." On jury-rigged screens, Elena sees the true scale of their crisis. Satellite imagery shows geometric patterns spreading across continents. Population centers pulse with mathematical perfection. 43% harmonized, Isabel says, including most world leaders and military command. That night, Elena jerks awake from nightmares of crystalline geometries. "We need equipment from my lab," she announces at breakfast. "I might be able to detect their presence directly, maybe even communicate." The raid on Georgetown University's physics building goes smoothly until they reach Elena's lab. As she downloads data, her hand accidentally knocks over an experimental quantum fluctuation detector. The device crashes, its containment field ruptures. Reality tears. For 3 terrifying seconds, Elena stands face to face with an ordinal, a being of impossible geometries, existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its crystalline body shifts through shapes her mind can't process. It regards her with what might be curiosity. Knowledge floods her consciousness. Mathematical concepts no human has comprehended, geometric truths that contradict themselves, perspectives that extend beyond time. Her mind wasn't built for this. Blood vessels rupture in her eyes as equations burn into her neural pathways. Marcus carries her convulsing body back to the tangent, where she remains catatonic for 36 hours. When she wakes, she immediately vomits, then demands paper. Her hands shake as she draws frantically. Complex mathematical notations, interdimensional coordinates, equations describing consciousness itself. "They don't hate us," she whispers, voice raw. "They think they're saving us." "From what?" Marcus asks. "From ourselves." Elena's bloodshot eyes meet his. "To them, our creativity and free will are forms of cosmic suffering. Our unpredictability creates ripples of pain across dimensional boundaries. They experience our existence as an ongoing scream." Isabel studies the equations, so harmonization isn't conquest. It's what they see as compassionate correction, Elena finishes. They genuinely cannot understand why we fight against what they perceive as salvation from the agony of choice and uncertainty. Marcus's face hardens. Then we need to make them understand that our chaos isn't a flaw. It's the whole damn point. We've got company. A lookout's warning echoes through the tangent as harmonization squads descend through maintenance shafts. Their movements are synchronized bullets of efficiency, reality warping devices humming in their hands. Everyone to the secondary exit, Isabel shouts. But it's too late. Blue harmonization fields shimmer at both tunnel ends, slowly advancing inward. Trapped in the abandoned theater section of the old station, Marcus grabs a prop sword from a production of Macbeth. The nearest harmonization officer extends a device toward him. It's field-distorting air molecules. That's close enough, Marcus says, raising the sword. The officer continues forward, expression blank. In desperation, Marcus shouts, "This sword is both real and not real." The harmonization field wavers around him, rippling like water. The officer's device sparks and fails. Delina stares in disbelief. Do that again. This sword exists and doesn't exist simultaneously, Marcus declares, advancing. The harmonization field bends around him as if repelled. It's a paradox, Elena whispers, understanding dawning. Their reality operates on perfect mathematical consistency, but human minds can hold contradictory truths simultaneously, and they can't process that. Within hours, Elena develops what she calls the paradox protocol, training resistors to hold contradictory concepts in mind simultaneously. They practice with simple statements. I am both here and not here. This tunnel is empty and occupied, advancing to more complex contradictions. You're creating cognitive dissonance deliberately, Isabel observes as Elena monitors brain activity on salvaged medical equipment, the very thing most humans try to avoid. Our greatest irritation becomes our salvation, Elena replies. Think about it. Jokes rely on unexpected connections. Art thrives on suggesting multiple interpretations. Even language depends on words having contextual meanings. We're wired for paradox. A week later, they're ready to test their theory. Reports of mass child correction at a nearby elementary school demand action. Children showing early signs of harmony resistance are being subjected to elevated harmonization. Marcus leads a team of 10, their minds shielded by the paradox protocol. They infiltrate the school through maintenance tunnels, each repeating their personal paradox like mantras. Delina guides them remotely through salvaged communication equipment. East corridor clear, Marcus whispers. But something's wrong. The air feels mathematical. They reach the gymnasium where 30 children sit in perfect rows, their expressions serene yet vacant. Harmonization technicians adjust equipment while security forces stand at precise intervals. The rescue attempt collapses when an alarm triggers. Harmonized security forces surround them, movements unnaturally coordinated. Maintain your paradoxes, Elena shouts through the comms. But it's not enough. The harmonization fields intensify, overwhelming their mental shields. Marcus watches in horror as they drag away Jackson, a former poet. The man struggles until they activate a handheld harmonization device. Jackson's personality visibly drains away, his movements becoming precise, his face relaxing into peaceful compliance. No need to resist, Jackson says, voice melodic yet empty. The mathematics of existence become clear, all disorder resolved. In desperation, Elena triggers the school's sprinkler system. Water cascades down, soaking everyone. The children, suddenly wet, cold, and angry, experience a powerful emotional surge. Their simultaneous outburst of authentic feeling creates a cascading disruption. Harmonization equipment sparks and fails. In the chaos, Marcus grabs as many children as they can save, leading them through emergency exits. Back at the tangent, Elena monitors the children's brain patterns with growing excitement. Pure emotion, especially anger, love, grief, generates quantum patterns the ordinals can't process, she explains. The children's emotional reaction created a temporary shield. Marcus watches the rescued children playing, their chaotic energy a stark contrast to harmonized precision. "So our salvation lies in what makes us most human," he says, "not our intelligence, but our feelings." Elena nods. The ordinals understand perfect mathematics, but they've never encountered Shakespeare, never felt heartbreak, never laughed until they cried. We need to weaponize what they can't comprehend. The beautiful irrationality of being human. 2 days after the school rescue, harmonization squads find the tangent. They're adapting to our paradoxes, Elena shouts as they evacuate through maintenance tunnels. The ordinals are learning. Scattered and desperate, the resistance regroups at their fallback location, an abandoned artist colony in the Appalachian foothills. As they establish perimeter sensors, Elena notices something strange on her equipment. "This doesn't make sense," she mutters, recalibrating her instruments. Ordinal activity is heavy in this region, but reality remains stable. Elena follows the readings to a dilapidated barn where a woman paints on a massive canvas. Swirls of color spiral across the surface with no discernible pattern. As Elena watches, the artist suddenly frowns, scrapes away a section, and begins again with different colors. Elena's instruments spike. "What did you just do?" Elena asks. The woman shrugs. "Changed my mind. The blue wasn't working." Over the next days, Elena observes the colony's artists, musicians, and dancers with growing excitement. Her instruments detect quantum turbulence, ripples in the underlying mathematical field of reality, every time they make spontaneous creative decisions. "It's beautiful," she tells Marcus, watching a jazz quartet improvise. Each time the saxophonist chooses a new note instead of the expected one, she creates a microscopic reality distortion. Multiply that by every creative act in this colony, and you get a harmony-resistant zone. Marcus finishes. Creativity as a defense mechanism. Their breakthrough comes when they rescue Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka from a harmonization transport. The renowned astrophysicist had secretly studied ancient cave paintings before the invasion. "Human evolution took an unexplainable leap," he explains, spreading his research across a table. "Every species in the universe evolved along mathematically predictable paths, except us." He points to brain scans comparing human cognition to theoretical alien neural structures. "Our consciousness developed capabilities no mathematical model predicted. Abstract symbolism, art for its own sake, spiritual concepts unrelated to survival." So somewhere in our history, Elena breathes, human consciousness made a jump that defies ordinal equations. That's why they see us as a cosmic error, Tanaka confirms. We're the mathematical impossibility in their perfect universe. The resistance launches Operation Chaos, establishing hidden enclaves where humans cultivate unpredictability through art, music, dance, and emotional expression. Elena's instruments confirm each enclave generates quantum turbulence that stabilizes reality against harmonization. But their greatest experiment awaits. In the former rock concert venue, they prepare to deharmonize a captured official, Regional Harmony Director Richards. For 72 harrowing hours, they'd bombard him with contradictory sensory inputs. Musicians play discordant melodies. Artists create and destroy works before his eyes. Actors perform scenes designed to trigger emotional responses. Everyone recites paradoxes continuously. On the third day, Richard's perfectly ordered expression cracks. He sobs, the first genuine emotion he's expressed in months. Elena's instruments detect his neural patterns returning to natural human complexity. "Sarah," he whispers, remembering his daughter. "Is she safe?" As his humanity gradually returns, the resistance celebrates their first successful deharmonization, but their victory is short-lived. All communication devices activate simultaneously. Harmonized news anchors announce with perfect intonation. The Human Cognitive Correction Initiative will commence within 48 hours. All citizens will receive the gift of harmony. Resistance causes unnecessary suffering and will be compassionately overcome. Elena studies the global broadcast map with growing horror. They're targeting the remaining free population for simultaneous harmonization. Marcus watches Richards holding a child's crayon drawing, tears streaming down his face. "Maybe we can't win through force," he says quietly, "but we might win through what makes us human." "How?" Elena asks. "Art, music, poetry, love." Marcus taps the equations from Elena's ordinal encounter. "You said they experience our chaos as pain. What if we could help them understand that what they perceive as suffering is actually the source of everything beautiful about existence?" Elena's eyes widen. "Not a war of resistance, but a war of transformation," Marcus finishes. "We don't just save humanity. We expand the ordinal's understanding of what existence can be." With global harmonization approaching, the resistance scatters into smaller groups. Elena's team heads for the mountains, but she never makes it. Halfway through their journey, she collapses, blood trickling from her nose. The equations, she gasps to Marcus before losing consciousness. "They're still in my head." For 3 days, Marcus maintains a desperate vigil at her bedside, while reality fractures around them. Reports flow in from around the world. Gravity reversing in Rio de Janeiro, time flowing backward in parts of Egypt, buildings in Sydney transforming into mathematically perfect structures that human minds can't properly perceive. The ordinals are accelerating their timeline, Dr. Tanaka explains, rewriting physical laws faster than reality can adapt. On the 4th day, Elena's eyes snap open. "I saw them," she whispers, voice cracked with dehydration. "All of them." "The ordinals?" Marcus asks. "No, the dreamers." She struggles to sit up. "While unconscious, I could see other dreamers worldwide. We were connected through something deeper than physical reality, a substrate beneath the laws of physics." Elena draws frantically, mapping a connection network. The ordinals operate on the mathematical level of reality, but they can't touch this deeper layer, the foundation of consciousness itself. Within hours, Elena adapts salvaged harmonization technology to synchronize brain patterns of sleeping volunteers. The first DreamLink experiment connects 12 resistors in shared consciousness. They awake simultaneously, gasping. "I saw crystalline cities," one whispers. "Mathematical symphonies," another adds. "Memories," Elena realizes, "not ours. The 17 extinct civilizations the ordinals harmonized before us." Hidden within these shared memories, they discover a terrible truth. The harmonized species aren't enjoying utopian existences, but are imprisoned in rigid patterns, their consciousness reduced to executing perfect but meaningless equations. "They're not living," Marcus says, horrified. "They're just calculating." With harmonization sweeping across continents, they have one chance to disrupt the process. Satellite imagery reveals a massive crystalline structure phasing into reality over the Bolivian salt flats, an ordinal nexus point where reality itself is thinnest. Marcus leads a desperate mission to sabotage it. Their equipment, devices that broadcast pure human emotional states, a child's laughter, music that triggers distinct memories, poetry that evokes complex feelings, directly into the mathematical substrate. They deploy under cover of darkness, setting up transmitters around the crystalline structure's perimeter. As dawn breaks, they activate the system. The effect is immediate and catastrophic. The reality storm, created by the emotional broadcast, temporarily liberates thousands of harmonized humans in the surrounding region. The crystalline structure destabilizes, sections of it phasing in and out of existence. "It's working." Marcus shouts into his communicator. "Elena, are you seeing this?" But as they attempt to escape, harmonized security forces close in with inexorable precision. In the chaos, Elena, monitoring from their base camp, loses contact with the team. When the dust settles, the mission is both a success and a catastrophe. The nexus point is destabilized, but most of the team is missing. 3 days later, Alina stares in horror at a global broadcast. Marcus stands behind a podium, his eyes vacant, his movements mathematically precise. And beside him, seemingly harmonized, is Alina herself. Her doppelganger speaks with perfect cadence. Resistance is both futile and irrational. The mathematics of existence have been calculated. Harmony awaits. At their remote mountain base, the real Alina watches in stunned silence. The resistance leaders turn to her for explanation. They've created a duplicate, she realizes. They couldn't harmonize me remotely because of my neural patterns, so they've made a copy to break our morale. But as her double continues speaking, Alina notices something odd. A pattern of eye blinks that doesn't match the perfect rhythm of harmonized movements. A pattern that matches their old military code. Not real still me. Marcus is alive, she whispers. And he's not harmonized. He's infiltrated their system from the inside. Hope reignites among the resistance, but their window is closing. The Global Harmonization Initiative begins in less than 24 hours, and their most effective fighter is deep behind enemy lines. We need a new approach, Alina says, studying the equations still etched in her consciousness since her ordinal encounter. Something they'll never expect from chaotic, irrational humans. What's that? Tanaka asks. Alina's expression hardens with determination. Perfect, logical recursion, using their own mathematics against them. You're insane, Richard says, still adjusting to deharmonization. Breaking into central harmonization. It's a suicide mission. Alina continues packing equipment. Marcus is alive in there, faking harmonization. We need to extract him. And the data he's gathering. The resistance fragments over her plan. Half believe Marcus is truly harmonized, the message a hallucination born of Alina's desperation. Others argue even if he's alive, the risk is too great with global harmonization hours away. I'm going alone if necessary, Alina declares. In the end, 5 volunteers join her, Richards, Tanaka, and 3 others, each driven by personal reasons to take this final risk. They infiltrate Washington, D.C. under cover of a reality distortion, a jazz quartet performing live nearby, their improvisation creating enough quantum turbulence to mask the team's approach. The city is transformed, buildings arranged in perfect geometric patterns, people moving in synchronized flows. The central harmonization facility rises like a crystalline cathedral, its architecture obeying mathematical principles that hurt human eyes. Guards move with clock-like precision along calculated patrol routes. Using the paradox protocol and timing their movements between patrols, the team penetrates the outer security. Alina's specially designed devices broadcast microbursts of emotional content, creating momentary blind spots in the ordinal's perception. Deep within the facility, they find row upon row of harmonized humans, working at terminals with machine-like efficiency. And among them, Marcus, his movements identical to those around him, his face a mask of serene compliance. When a supervisor approaches their hiding spot, Richards creates a diversion. As alarms blare, Alina slips to Marcus's station. Extraction protocol, she whispers. Confirm status. Without changing expression, Marcus replies in monotone. Harmonization optimal. Productivity at 99.7% efficiency. Then, in the same flat voice, took you long enough. I've been maintaining paradox protocol for 68 hours without sleep. Alina nearly collapses with relief. You're really still you. Mostly. It's getting harder to maintain the cognitive dissonance. His fingers continue typing perfect code. But I've accessed their central processing systems. Alina, they're incredible and terrible. Their mathematical perfection is godlike, but they have a fundamental blindness. What? They can't adapt. Their calculations require complete information. Each human act of spontaneity forces massive computational recalculations, creating microsecond vulnerabilities. A harmonized security team approaches. Alina prepares to flee, but Marcus continues typing. Wait, he says. 3, 2, 1. Throughout the facility, harmonized workers simultaneously pause, heads tilting identically as they process new information. I just introduced a mathematical paradox into their system. Marcus explains, rising. We have exactly 97 seconds before they resolve it. They'd race through the temporarily frozen facility, collecting Tanaka and the others. As they reach the exit, harmonized forces reactivate, pursuing with implacable efficiency. In a breathtaking escape through reality-shifting corridors, they flee the facility. Halfway across the city, they duck into an abandoned subway station as harmonization patrols glide past above. What did you learn? Elena asks when they're safe. Marcus's eyes are haunted. They're not malevolent conquerors. They're fundamentally different beings who experience disorder as excruciating pain. Their mission across countless universes has been eliminating what they perceive as suffering. The mathematics of chaos hurts them, Tanaka realizes. Exactly. Imagine existing as a being of perfect order, then encountering a species whose minds create constant, unpredictable disorder in the fabric of reality. Marcus projects data from a stolen device. This is how they perceive human consciousness. The projection shows human thoughts as jagged, chaotic eruptions tearing through ordered mathematical fields, beautiful to human eyes, but apparently agonizing to ordinal perception. We've been fighting them, Elena says slowly, but maybe we should be translating instead. At their Antarctic fallback base, Elena and Tanaka work feverishly to develop a quantum translation system, a mathematical language that can convey human concepts the ordinals have never encountered. Beauty emerging from chaos, growth through struggle, meaning born from free choice. It's ready, Elena says as global harmonization begins worldwide. But to transmit it, we'll need direct access to an ordinal nexus point. The Washington nexus is too heavily guarded now, Marcus says. Elena's expression is grim. Then we use the Antarctic nexus, the one directly beneath us that my equations predicted, and that just started forming 20 minutes ago. The Antarctic facility trembles as reality fractures beneath it. Through reinforced windows, they watch harmonized humans outside freeze in position, their perfectly ordered minds unable to function while the ordinals process Elena's translation attempt. It didn't work, Elena says, instruments showing the nexus point continuing to form beneath them. They received our message but didn't understand it. We need harder evidence, Marcus says, something undeniable. Elena makes a decision. Get me to the old quantum observatory. I have a theory. They race across the Antarctic compound as reality itself unravels. Ice formations transform into perfect fractals. Aurora patterns rearrange into mathematical sequences. The harmonized humans remain frozen, awaiting new instructions. The Antarctic Quantum Observatory, built to detect cosmic radiation but abandoned years ago, houses the most sensitive reality-measuring equipment on Earth. As they force open its frozen doors, Elena explains her hypothesis. Consciousness itself is a fundamental force of the universe, as essential as gravity or electromagnetism. The ordinals can't perceive it directly because they operate purely on mathematical principles. Inside the observatory's quantum chamber, Elena connects herself to the detectors. Her vital signs display on ancient monitors as Marcus and Tanaka calibrate the equipment. What I'm about to do is dangerous, she warns. If I'm wrong, my consciousness could fragment across dimensional planes. And if you're right, Tanaka asks. Then we prove that human unpredictability isn't a flaw, but a vital function. Our minds evolved specifically to generate the quantum uncertainty necessary for reality stability. Elena activates the system. Her body convulses as the detectors scan her neural patterns at the quantum level. Data streams across screens, forming patterns that confirm her theory. Human consciousness generates quantum fluctuations that maintain reality's fundamental balance. The ordinals, she gasps through pain, in their mission to create perfect order, have been unknowingly damaging the consciousness field across multiple dimensions. The evidence is undeniable. Graphs show 17 extinction events across the cosmos, each representing a harmonized civilization, each followed by dimensional instability. We're not just fighting for humanity, Alina realizes. We're fighting for the structural integrity of reality itself. With time running out, they launched Project Ripple, converting the observatory's radio telescope into a consciousness amplifier that can broadcast human creative thought directly into the fabric of reality. We need more minds connected, Alina says, studying the readings. This signal's too weak to counteract global harmonization. Marcus contacts resistance cells worldwide, coordinating the conversion of radio towers, cell networks, and satellite arrays into amplification nodes. Within hours, a makeshift network forms among the remaining free humans. In an emotionally charged sequence, musicians perform in the ruins of harmonized cities. Children create art on the walls of abandoned buildings. Poets read works of staggering beauty in empty squares, all connected to the amplifiers, their creative energy feeding into the quantum consciousness field. As millions of unharmonized humans connect to this network, reality itself begins responding. Fractures healing, natural laws stabilizing in regions where the amplifiers operate. But the effect remains localized. Satellite imagery shows harmonization continuing across most of the planet. The ordinals adapt, routing around the disruptions. It's not enough, Tanaka says, studying the data. We need something stronger. A quantum resonance powerful enough to communicate directly with the underlying consciousness of the universe itself. Alina stares at the equations, calculating possibilities. That would require coordinated mental focus from billions of humans, including the harmonized. Impossible, Richard says. The harmonized can't generate the necessary quantum patterns. Unless, Alina's expression shifts as she reaches a terrible conclusion. Unless we create an emotional response so powerful it breaks through even their harmonization. What could possibly do that? Marcus asks. Alina meets his eyes with growing dread. A sacrifice, a public, emotional sacrifice broadcast through the amplification network. Something so profoundly human that it creates a cascading awakening. Understanding dawns on Marcus's face. Alina, no. She turns to the monitors showing harmonization spreading inexorably across the planet. I started this when I first perceived the invasion. My neural patterns are already linked to the ordinals from our first contact. There has to be another way, Marcus insists. There isn't. Alina begins calibrating the equipment. And we're out of time. Dawn breaks over a world half transformed. Crystalline structures towering alongside human architecture, reality itself divided between mathematical precision and natural chaos. Alina stands at the observatory window, watching the Antarctic sun glint off geometric ice formations. The calculations are complete, she says. I need to enter the nexus point at precisely the right moment, when my consciousness is fully connected to the amplification network. And then, Marcus asks, knowing the answer. My consciousness will expand into the network, becoming a conduit between humanity and the fundamental substrate of reality. Her voice remains steady. The human mind isn't designed to exist across dimensional boundaries. The process will likely be fatal. Despite protests, preparations continue. As Alina connects herself to the amplification system, alarms blare throughout the facility. Harmonized security forces have found them. They've adapted faster than we calculated, Tanaka says, watching monitors as perfectly synchronized troops advance across the ice. Get Alina to the nexus point, Richards orders, distributing weapons. We'll hold them off. Marcus escorts Alina through underground tunnels toward the crystalline structure that has fully emerged behind the facility, a space where realities overlap and human perception falters. Each step closer makes their vision swim as physical laws become suggestions rather than rules. At the tunnel's end, harmonized security forces suddenly appear, movements precise as clockwork. In the firefight that follows, Marcus takes a grazing shot to his shoulder, but manages to clear a path to the nexus. The crystalline chamber pulses with mathematical energy. At its center, physical space folds impossibly, revealing glimpses of other dimensions. "This is it," Elena says, activating her neural interface. "When I connect, broadcast the signal immediately." "Elena," Marcus says, taking her hand. I know," she interrupts with a smile. "Paradoxical, isn't it? How the most rational thing I've ever done will be completely irrational by ordinal standards." As she steps toward the nexus, harmonized forces breach the chamber. In a shocking twist, Marcus raises his weapon, his expression suddenly blank, his movements mathematically precise. "Harmony is optimal," he intones, weapon aimed at Elena. "Disruption will cease." Elena freezes. Marcus. For one terrible moment, it appears the paradox protocol has failed him. Then he winks, a perfectly human gesture, before spinning to fire at the security forces. "Couldn't resist," he says with a grin. "Go. I'll protect you." As Marcus defends the chamber in a desperate last stand, Elena connects herself to the amplification network and steps into the nexus point. Her consciousness expands exponentially, becoming a conduit between humanity and the fundamental substrate of reality. Across the planet, harmonized humans twitch and stir as her signal penetrates their ordered minds. In homes, streets, and shelters worldwide, billions experience a simultaneous moment of profound clarity, their true selves briefly emerging through the harmony. This global neural surge creates a quantum resonance that reaches across dimensional boundaries. Through Elena's expanded consciousness, humanity directly communicates with the ordinals, creating understanding that transcends previous limitations. In a breathtaking sequence, the ordinals experience human emotion for the first time, the fierce joy of creation, the sweet sorrow of impermanence, the transcendent beauty of imperfection. Simultaneously, humans glimpse the elegant perfection of ordinal existence, the serene beauty of mathematical certainty, the interconnectedness of all equations, the symphony of ordered systems. This mutual comprehension fundamentally transforms both beings. The harmonization program collapses as the ordinals withdraw, recognizing that the universe requires both order and chaos in balance, each meaningless without the other. Elena's physical form dissipates into light, her consciousness merging with the substrate of reality itself. Yet somehow her essence remains, whispered in quantum fluctuations, echoed in creative inspiration, present in the balance between order and chaos. 3 months later, Marcus stands on a hilltop overlooking a transformed world. Physical laws have stabilized into a new equilibrium that maintains Earth's natural unpredictability, while incorporating elements of ordinal mathematics. Humans consciously shape reality through both precision and chaos. "We did it, Elena," he says to the wind, knowing somehow she hears him. Not as conquerors, but as bridges. Across the cosmos, 17 lost civilizations begin showing signs of reawakening as the consciousness field heals. Earth has become a nexus point between dimensions, humanity's unique role not to rule the universe, but to maintain its essential balance, preserving the delicate equilibrium that allows consciousness itself to exist. In the quantum substrate that underlies all reality, something that was once Elena Rice smiles, her final paradox complete. By embracing both her humanity and transcending it, she has ensured that the cosmic order both collapsed and was reborn into something greater, a universe where both perfect mathematics and beautiful chaos dance in eternal necessary balance.